labour, and the supply of unskilled. Demand for labour. WU1, WS1.
So you could separate these out into the relative demand for each, but we won't on this occasion. But the general gist is that for a given level of demand, the skilled labour will earn more. And when the demand for labour goes up,
so when the demand curve shifts parallel to DL2, the unskilled worker, yeah, they get a bit of a pay rise. It's WU2.
but the skilled labour,
he or she receive a very substantial pay rise. Thank you very much. So they go from A to B, whereas the unskilled goes from C to D.
now what makes you a more skilled labourer, Alana? Having a good, correct, having a good education. So what you're doing at the minute is hopefully making your supply more inelastic, which is just as well, because they reckon the pandemic is going to do away with many, what type, what flavour? Unskilled. And if you've been reading the FT this week, which I hope you have, you'll see that one of the big concerns is that as the unskilled jobs disappear, are the people who lose their jobs going to re-enter the labour market into a more skilled area? Now, of course, Rishi did something for that yesterday. Yeah. But I've never been. I did my dissertation at uni on a skills program that was introduced in Northern Ireland years ago by the Industrial Development Board, and they introduced a scheme, and they pumped millions into it, and the people got jobs for 6 months. But then when the funds ran out in the scheme, they just made them redundant again. It was.
So what is it like? Can you just train people so they can get?
So it was well, this particular scheme was kind of equivalent to what would nowadays be an apprenticeship scheme, really. So they took on apprentices, but then when the funds ran out, they didn't keep them on, and so they just laid them off.
More than that happen now, because ones don't have any money left. Companies all in one.
Well, potentially, yeah, and I mean, the apprenticeship programs are closing down by the day at the minute, anyway. Okay, now, talk to me then, please, JM, about transfer earnings and economic rent as well.
Transfer earnings is it economic rent, the amount of money it takes to keep one factor of supply in its current position, and transfer earnings is the amount like the cost of shifting it to a different.
Not quite. Anyone else? Difference between transfer earnings and economic rent? So Beyoncé, if we went back to Beyoncé, does she earn a lot of economic rent, or does she earn a lot of transfer earnings? Ellie? Why? So you're right. So Beyoncé earns a lot of economic rent. Why?
Is that because like that's the extra money that she wouldn't be on the like transfer is how much they need to re-employ, and then economic rents are less.
Yes, so transfer earnings is the minimum an individual needs to receive in order to work, in this case. whereas economic rent is over and above that. So if I said I would come to work for, or if Beyonce said, right, what does she do? Is she an actress?
Singer.
Right, okay, so if Beyonce said, I'll, sing whatever, Jingle Bells, whatever it is that she sings, I'll sing Jingle Bells, but really, I would do that for nothing. But then she gets £2 million for doing it. Then all of that £2 million is economic rent, right? Rory McIlroy, do you know who Rory is? Roars? Golfer, right? Professional golfer. Roars. No, he's worth hundreds of millions, right? He'd probably be the first billionaire golfer, I would imagine, after Tiger Woods. He used to, he was on course, but after all his kind of personal issues and payouts to various people, he's no longer on. But I mean, he's not short of money. Let's just say, if you're looking for a suitable suitor, right? So, Beyonce, if she earns 2 million, similarly, old Roars, he would probably say, well, I'll knock a ball around, and because I enjoy doing it, I would do it for nothing. But then he rocks up to a tournament and he wins £10 million or something. So all of that is economic rent to him. Now, how much do you get paid in your part-time job? It's only 2 an hour minimum wage, Ellie. What did it go up to yesterday? Very good. So 8.72. What's the minimum you'd be willing to do that job for? Whatever. What is it you do again? Oh yes. Okay. Royal Mail. Would you be willing to do that for £5? Really? All right. So actually, you're getting £3.71 of economic rent. Would you do it for £2? 3? Right, okay, so there is a bare minimum that you there's Ellie, I'll not get out of bed if I don't get at least £3 an hour or something. Demanding. Right. Well, that's they do say, find a job you love and you'll never work a day in your life. Because you love it so much, doesn't seem like work, doesn't seem like labour. Right, so transfer earnings. That is the minimum required to bring the factor of production. Now we're talking about labour here, but it could be land, could be capital. To bring the FOP into employment or into the market, if you will. So at W star Q star, what is the transfer earnings there? Yeah, so last week we were looking at consumer surplus and producer surplus. Consumer surplus being area above, and producer surplus being? Okay, so now we've got another one. So transfer earnings is the area below supply. Because in order to bring maybe this unit of labour in, the minimum they need is there. To bring the next unit, the minimum is there. So all of that area, that's all your TE, that's your transfer earnings. Now by default, therefore, the area above supply but below the wage is economic rent, yeah.
So transfer earnings is on most of your diagrams it'll be above the x-axis and below the supply of labour in this case. Whereas economic, so how would you define economic rent, JM? It's
The
the payment
the payment earned above
over and above
the minimum of 5
the transfer earnings, yeah. Okay, so how many, that actress Beyoncé, how many of there are there? Yeah, whatever. How many of there are there? That actress Beyoncé. How many? What? One. Okay, there's only one actress, Beyoncé.
You definitely do know who she is. You put the
What?
thing on her name.
No, just a good guess. So Beyoncé, that actress Beyoncé, there's only how many? There's only one Beyoncé. Okay, so that means that the supply of Beyoncés is perfectly inelastic. Okay, which means what this is saying is effectively she would work for nothing. So, well, the theory says that she would, effectively. But,
Isn't it like look at their current job? No.
yeah, as an actress, yeah. Now, the demand, however, for, her films and stuff must be enormous, I imagine. I don't know, but I imagine the demand for what films is she? Star Wars or something like that? Yeah, okay. So it's going to be way, way up here. Beyoncé, actress. Which means that she's going to get this wage. And therefore, all of that, because it's over the minimum, which is nothing, then all of that is economic rent. That's all economic rent. So these unique individuals with unique talents, so Caleb Dressel, that would bring a squirm to your face. Caleb Dressel, American swimmer, legend in the pool, just broke the individual medley record last week, unbelievable, 44 seconds. But anyway, Caleb, he's such, what do you call the guy from the UK swimmer? Adam. Peaty. Adam Peaty. No, unique skills and talents. So his supply will be very inelastic. Therefore, he's going to be earning a lot of economic rent. So anyone with unique sets of skills and talents, especially if they're very highly in demand, you're going to earn lots. You're going to earn lots of money because David and Victoria. Who? David and Victoria Beckham. Okay, fair enough. They'll earn. Well, it doesn't matter. They'll earn lots of money, won't they? Because. Was.
She is?
Is she?
Yeah.
Okay. And her husband David
Very good football.
was. No.
Are you a big fan?
Sorry?
Are you a big fan?
Of David and Victoria Beckham? Not especially, but I know they've got a unique set of skills and talents which have made them very wealthy, earning a lot of economic rent. The Roonster,
Are you
Wayne Rooney, footballer. He's, you know. JM, who are you thinking?
What? Who the rooster is on?
No, just were you thinking of someone with a unique skill set?
Somebody, Elon Musk.
Yeah.
He's just second wealthiest man.
Because
Shares in Tesla. When it went,
again,
yeah.
$555 a share. They reckon going towards 1,000 a share. Get in there before it's too late. Stick your money in. I did a lesson on that with Year 10 the other day. It was a cover lesson RE, but I thought, no, I'll teach them some economics. So we started looking at Tesla shares. Well, with Mr. J. Wood's permission. Right, okay, so what is happening to the supply curve, which is changing the amount of economic rent? So over here you've got a little bit, but over here you've got loads. So as supply becomes more inelastic, economic rent is going up, right? So that's the relationship. And supply becoming more inelastic covers us back to this diagram, where you're a much more skilled individual. Yeah. Now, some would say, of course, that Beyonce doesn't have any skill or talent at all. I mean, that's obviously, you know, you get these singers and I think they're the bee's knees, but actually, that's debatable. I don't know. I really, you know, I've never seen their movies, so I'm not really sure. So as supply becomes, if what? If I've seen what? Oh, Lion King. No, I haven't seen that. As supply becomes more inelastic, and why is that? Ref, supply skilled, so becoming more skilled. Okay, now, what then, to give you the other extreme, which would be that, supply of labour, now what type of job's that? Well, I don't, you know, let's not be, now Tej Lalvani, one of the Dragon's Den, Tej, if you know him. Well, he put a little thing on, it was either LinkedIn or Twitter the other day, and he said, "This is my badge from when I was employed at McDonald's as a student." And he said something like, it was something along the lines of, you know, don't let anybody tell you that working in McDonald's doesn't teach you any good skills or something like that.
Actually, might teach you skills.
Oh no, I do. Yeah.
It's not like,
Yeah.
like you don't really get
Yeah. Well, Charlotte Farrow, who used to come here a couple of years, you know her, do you? All right, yes. Well, that's where she works part-time sometimes. Not anymore, I don't think, but she used to. Anyway, yeah, it does suggest that pretty much anybody could turn their hand to this particular skill. So it might be, sort of retail work or waiter, waitress, that sort of thing. Car park attendant, you know, someone who sits in the little hut, although most of them are automated now, and presses the button and up comes the barrier, that sort of thing. And you said so.
I don't think it would take out, because the babysitter, like, yeah, they do have a lot of qualifications for the job they do, but you get a babysitter and get them to do the same thing.
Maybe you should spend some time in a primary school and see how.
That's what I'm saying.
how difficult it is. You have to be a jack of all trades. You have to know about math. I could never do it. Maths, English, chemistry, physics, you name it. You have to be an expert in it.
Like easy maths, easy chemistry.
Yeah, but teaching it to children isn't easy because there are kids that won't understand like what you got. It's not necessarily about like I'm sure Mr. Clark knows everything about economics, but it's probably
No, that's incorrect.
it's more difficult to teach us than it is to know it. Like I could know primary school maths, but whether I could go and like teach it to everyone is different.
That is, yes.
It's not like unskilled.
I would agree. Mm. Yeah, I think primary school teachers have a much harder job than secondary school teachers, personally. But anyway, that's by the by. So, what if this is the demand for this type of labour? So you've got QL there, W there. What is all of that? Because in order to bring this particular group of people to the market, they will have to get at least W. Yeah. And are they getting any more than W? No. So there's no economic rent here. This is just all transfer earnings. So the more elastic the supply, then you're moving away from the skilled to the unskilled, and as it pivots around, then you've got much less economic rent and much more transfer earnings.